The lectionary this week I especially like, but I had planned on talking about something else, so I'm not going to follow the lectionary. So I'm going to read to you what I had planned on talking about. And this comes from John 5, 1 through 9. Sometime later, Jesus went up to Jerusalem for a feast of the Jews. Now there in Jerusalem, near the sheep gate, a pool, which in Aramaic, which is called Bethsaida, and which is surrounded by 5 covered colonnades. Here a great number of disabled people used to lie: the blind, the lame, the paralyzed. One who was there had been an invalid for 35 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and learned that he had been in this condition for a long time, he asked him, "Do you want to get well?" "Sir," the invalid replied, "I have no one to help me into the pool when the water is stirred. While I am trying to get in, someone else goes down ahead of me." Then Jesus said to him, "Get up, pick up your mat, and walk." At once the man was cured. He picked up his mat and walked. If you've studied the Bible, you probably know the background of this pool. The word back then was that if the pool was stirred and you've seen ripples on it, God had passed over the pool. And the first one into the pool after this happened had a very good chance of being cured. So that's why a lot of these invalids were around this pool. And since this gentleman, he had an affliction that wouldn't let him move fast, every time he got up to get in the pool, when he seen the water stirred, somebody was in ahead of him. So he's been here a long time. And Jesus comes by and heals him instantly. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about healing. This past year, earlier in the year, I became a member of a group that I did not seek membership in. And that is a survivor of cancer. There are several of us in this room that are part of that group. And it's a good thing to be a survivor, and it's a bad thing to be a member of this group. I have to tell you, I'm going to say some things that a lot of people know, but I think it's important. I have to say them because it helps me talk about cancer. Any of us that have not had cancer, I know before I had it, I wasn't willing to talk to anyone that had cancer about their disease. It seems like, it's just a subject that you don't say much about. Well, I have to talk about it. Now, there's tests that we do for cancer, for especially the type of cancer that I have, prostate cancer. And there's tests that we do for breast cancer. There's all kinds of tests that they can do now. Now, I have a pet peeve there's a panel in Washington, D.C., that says that we don't need to test for prostate cancer as often as we have been. And they also came out and they questioned the need for breast cancer x-rays. But you know what I found? And I bet I can guarantee it, that every one of the members of that panel have never had someone sit down beside you and say, you have cancer. I can guarantee that, or they would think different about the need for these tests. They gave me 4 options for treatment. They said I could do nothing and just monitor it. I could do radiation beam, or I could do the radiation seed, or I could do the robotic surgery. Well, it seems that after I found out I had cancer, I had a bit of a heart problem. So when you're on heart medicine, robotic surgery is out. So I was down to 3 options. I went to Mason City, talked to the doctors there, and they told me, what I could do, and I thought, I need a second opinion. So I went to Rochester and went to Mayo, and I talked to the doctor there. Well, in fact, I talked to 3 or 4 doctors in Mayo. They don't just give you one doctor. There's about 4 of them that talk to you there. And they gave me basically the same options. So I elected to have my treatment done in Mason City. And after it took a while to decide, but I elected to have the radiation beam. And I'll explain a little bit more about that later on. And they told me, besides treatment, your mental attitude is going to have a lot to do with your treatment. You can say, God help me, or you can say, God, D-A-M-N it. I elected to take the first because I believe that the connection between your mind and your body is so close that you need to have everything working towards your health. So that was part of the mental attitude they told me about. And we live in a society that puts a high value, and I mean a high value, on life and health. I'm glad I was born into this society, because not all countries have that attitude. We say life is so important that we'll protect it by any means. And haven't you seen how we do it and the different ways we do it? Every time an ambulance goes out, they're trying to get there as fast as they can. We call in life flight to help people stay alive. I'm so glad I live in this society that values and puts such a high value on life and health. In my treatment, You know, when you go in, they say, this is what we're going to do. And here's how it worked for me. I'm sure it's different for every cancer patient that they see. But for me, they mapped out a program for me. The oncologist, a fancy name for cancer doctor. The radiologist, I can't remember what they call them now. It's the radiologist or the radiology doctor. And, oh shoot, now I thought about it and it's gone. But there's a third person there. And they make up the program of your treatment. All 3 people have to sign off on it before they start the treatment, so that, you know, I guess I felt assured that they were probably going to do the right thing for me. They said my treatment would involve 39 treatments. I'm 25, 14 to go. Any cancer patient that's going through it knows the number. You know what I like to see when I go for my cancer treatment? There's all kinds of young people. I mean, these are young people, by my standard, and they're sharp, and they're good. And you know why I like them? Because there's so much technology involved in all this treatment anymore. They know what they're doing. It's certainly not my generation that would know how to run all the sophisticated equipment that's involved. So let me tell you, I'm thankful for young people, and I appreciate what they do. You know, I got to thinking about that story. You know, life is all a bunch of stories. And that story I read you today about Jesus healing the invalid by the pool, you know, I thought, what would happen today if Jesus came here and he healed someone miraculously? You know what? You know what would happen? The first thing is somebody would have recorded it. And within a half an hour, it would have been around the world of this miraculous cure. Can you imagine? Within 2 days, there would probably be 1 million people seeking out Jesus for cures of various kinds. You know, and that's why Jesus said, you remember, I didn't come to heal. Because he understood how healing took away from really what he was trying to do. You know, people honed in on the healing part, and really he told us, I come to teach man how to live with men and women, how to teach them to live with one another. So that wouldn't work today. You know, we'd ruin it in a heartbeat. If you'd ask me, do you have any side effects? I think anybody who's been through it without hesitation would say, you bet I have side effects. But you know what? When I sit in that cancer waiting room and hear the stories of the other people there, you know what? I don't have any problems. I got 0 problems compared to them. So, side effects, I can live with them. I'm a survivor, and there are a whole bunch of other survivors that are in our church. You know what? I plan on being a survivor for a long, long time. And I think we all do. But we have a special thing that we have going for us. You know, because I guess once you're a cancer patient, you're always a cancer patient. It's just a matter of how good the cure is and your attitude. You know, I don't have Jesus here today standing beside me saying, Francis, you're cured. I don't have that. But you know what I do have? I've got a whole bunch of good people that have my back. And I'm thankful for that.